Having a set of standard assets to be used in a game you are designing and an animation you are creating is immensely useful. And that's what we're going to walk through today. Some basic shapes and basic assets such as grass, dirt, stone, a pathway, tree. And these are the types of things that could be in the background. You could even use this as a 2D asset collection by flattening it out and rendering it. Regardless, let's get going on this fun set of animated assets. Let's start making a collection of assets to be used in animations and in games. What's really great about this, it gives you more creative freedom and also a higher potential to earn a profit since all the assets are yours. Let's get going. I like to hide the light in the camera. We're not going to need them right away. We do want the cube, so ta-da. And I'm going to call this cube grass because that's what it's going to be primarily. Let's change up this size here. And our size is going to be 2 for Y and 2 for X. And then Z is going to be a 0.5. Perfect. 2Y, yep, good to go there. And then for this item here, like I said, it's going to be grass. Ground is rarely perfect, right? We want it to be bumpy like ground actually is. So let's go into edit mode. In edit mode, make sure you have all of this selected. I'm going to do edge and subdivide. What I'm going to subdivide it to, we're going to do, let's do 20 subdivisions. Perfect, right? And with that done, we're going to head back into object mode. Now it looks still just like grass, even with all those cuts. I mean, like grass, just like a block, even with all those cuts. We need a modifier. The modifier we're going to be applying is a displace modifier, but we need a texture for it. So I'm going to click new. In textures, here we go. I'll call this ground so I know what it is. We're going to use a cloud texture to create our bumps. And at first, because all those cuts, it looks like chaos, but that's great. That's just what we want. That's perfect. What we need now, though, is something to calm it down. So I'm headed back to modifiers, and I'm going to add something to smooth it out, a subdivision surface modifier. We want both of these to be 3s. And now it kind of depends how bumpy you want your ground to be. The sides won't matter as much because of the perspective we'll be having on this. It does add a good texture, but really the top is what you're going to be looking at mostly. Strength, 0.5 maybe. See, this looks a bit more realistic to me in terms of how many bumps are on it. So at this point, I'm going to add some color, some grass. To do that though, I will be using, well here, material, a grass image that I took. I will link it in the description. Feel free to use it. So on base color, I'm clicking this dot thing and going into image texture and open. The fun thing about using an image for this is it does provide a bit of detail and a bit of quirk and a bit of authenticity to the object. So let me click on my image and it will be in the description. And we can't see it yet, but now we can. Way too close, right? It looks very strange. Let's head into edit mode. And in edit mode, I'm going to click face select. And using the select tool, I'm just going to grab the top of our object and do UV unwrap. And that's a bit better, right? It's still slightly close, but it's much closer to what we want it to be, right? Again, we're mainly using this for the glass texture and for variations on color. So this is excellent now as is. I'm going to call this grass because now we're going to use a subsurface color that's really going to be the predominant color in the object. So I did a 0.9. Now, actually, before I do that, let me steal a color from it. I'm going to click on the subsurface color and the eyedropper and pick a color I want for grass, maybe over here somewhere. I got 6C9767. Let's see what that looks like. 0.9. Boom. And you can start to see how fast it kind of blurs out the grass. I think I do want mine a bit darker. So let's do 3777 3D for mine. You can use obviously whatever you would like. And I might even want to cover up more. I see a leaf detail, and that's really not my focus here. 0.96. You just want it at a level you're comfortable with. This is supposed to provide variance of color, right? I'm going to set specular to 0.1 and roughness to 0.6. Awesome. And the base part of our grass is ready to rock. We're going to though pause because we're going to use this shape for other things. So I'm going to do object duplicate. I'm going to hit the X key on my keyboard and just pull a copy of my grass over here somewhere and up over here. The location doesn't super matter right now, but if you're curious, mine's at, I guess, -12 and 3. And then I'm going to actually duplicate it one more time. Object duplicate. I'm going to hit X on my keyboard so it sticks to that X location. And now I'm at -7 and 3. And we'll deal with these later. That's going to be our water and lava. Now let's punch a hole in this. Because oftentimes with games or animation assets, there are open areas where you could stick water or any other type of asset or tile that you would like. And that's what we're going to create. So I'm going to drop into edit mode again. We're going to put a stone hole in the middle of this because we'll have a grass area with a hole punched in it later on. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to stick with, I'm doing 5 on each side. Can't count. 3, 2. 3, 2. Don't judge me. 3, 2. Now I'm double counting. Okay, perfect. First, we want a sand texture. Or a stone. I'm sorry, a stone. Let's do a material. New. Which is the plussy. Also known as a plus. New. And stone. Okay. Our stone's going to be gray, but we're going to do something a bit strange and use wave texture. Let me hit assign. It's a trick that I often use for, well, things like this. So obviously our stone is not a zebra, shockingly. We want the scale to be much higher. What we're going to do is make this really blurry, and it will give a nice look to the actual stone face we're going to be making. Well, not face, but stone. 70, let's distort by, I'm going to start with 10 and probably go way up. Detail of 2, it doesn't super matter on detail. Detail scale, I'm going to do 10. And let's take a look. So it's still there, but it's distorted some. Let's see if we do a 15 or a 20. And you can see now how it becomes almost speckled. If we zoom way in, it's still that wavy shape, but we're not going to be that close. So now let's pick out a gray for our stone to be. I guess I'm using 61 all the way across. I'm going to say 0.9. And you can see how it gives us a really nice textured look. And again, you can mess with this forever to find the right exact color. But I am going to stick with 60, I guess, 20, 5, and 10, and 0.9 for my subsurface color. Oh, stone doesn't need much of this. I'm going to do a 0.2 and a 0.6 for that. All right, I got to get this selected again, now that we have that figured out. And the first thing I'm going to do on this is face inset. I'm just going to push. And yeah, a 0.035. And now I'm going to leave this selected because I'm going to go into extrude. And I'm going to push down. Let me take a look here. What we want this at, almost perfect, is a -1. All right. Now let's go back into select. We're going to delete the faces on the bottom of this. We won't be needing them. So let's get rid of them. So I'm now looking at the bottom of my item. I'm going to go ahead and select all of that and do face. Do mesh and delete faces. Perfect. Let's click Z. Now I'm staring at the top of the item and I need all this gone too. Mesh, delete, faces. Great. So if we now go into object mode, we have our stone, but it's not as messy, bumpy looking as our ground. And so what we're going to do to change that is head back into edit mode, and I want to click on Z again. I'm going to get all of this gray area. Wacha. And then I want to make sure I grab these edges here. I'm holding shift. All right, with those grabbed, let's do edge and subdivide. Because having these edges is what lets our cloud distortion make it look kind of crazy. So I put 4 here, and let's take a look at it now. And you can already see that is looking a bit better. The last thing I'd like to do, though, is I'm going to go ahead and pull this up just a bit. So I have all of it selected still. I'm going to hit move, and I'm going to pull it up. Not much. 0.02 should be good. And let's take a look. Yeah, and that gives it more of an uneven look as it touches and hits into the grass. Perfect. Let's take a look with the light. Ooh, we should go ahead and fix our light. So light, zoop. But it's still kind of dim. I'm going to go to sun mode and put it at a 6. All right, and I can tell that actually I want my grass to be darker. That's easy enough. .985. Perfect. All right. Let's click Z. I have that all set up, ready to rock. Now, let's go ahead and set up our camera, actually. Let me click on camera, boom, and go to camera view. All right, so our camera, we want an overhead look to render all of our sprite sheets, or our sprite sheet. So I'm going to click on the object properties for my camera, and we need 0, 0, Z I think was 26, 0, 0, and 0 for rotation. And now we can start moving or finagling our items into spots. So I'm going to go over here and here. Let me go ahead now and do and yours doesn't need to be in this exact spot. If you're worried about it, I guess mine's a 6.6 and a 2.5. Let me go ahead and do another duplicate of this. Object, duplicate. I'm going to click X on my keyboard and pull it over. And pull this guy over more. Right to the edge. So we probably want to back the camera up a little bit more. Let's try 28 just to give us enough space. I'm liking that a lot more already. So I guess now I'm at 7 and 3. 7.15 and 3. 3. And 2.5. We're going to leave it at 2.3 and 7.4. 7.4, 2.3, 7.4 and 3, 2.3 and 3. Awesome. Let's go ahead now and, oops, let me click out of camera mode and zoom in. This is going to be our dirt. To do that, it's largely actually within the material. So we're going to add a new material. I'm going to call this dirt material dirt. And this is going to be somewhat familiar. I have an image of dirt. It is going to be in the description of this video for you to use. Open that. And let me grab mine. This one is it. It is public domain on Wikipedia. So Wikimedia. Dirt it is. Right? And I want to see this. So for this one, I can go ahead and whoop and whoop. It's not right yet. What we're going to want to do to this is add a subsurface color. And you could, like I was doing earlier, use the selector tool maybe for one of these dark colors. But I want to go much darker. And I really, let's see, 332211 is a brown I use often. And I might even want to go a bit darker than that. While I'm doing this, I should go ahead and do edit mode. And we're going to do a select all. We're going to do a UV smart UV project. 0.03 here is what I like. And okay. And that really improves the image's look. So 0.95 it is. That's looking a bit better. I might even go darker, something like that. And then for specular, 0.1 maybe. There's going to be some water in this, right? It's dirt, so maybe point. Well, I guess that's up to you. 0.1 if it's mud or dirt, and 0.98 even. And this is where I'm starting to like the color. So this is going to be totally up to you depending on what you're going to be doing in your game, farming and such. This is 1B1209 and roughness 0.6 for sure. There we are, and we have a dirt tile with an opening if needed. So next is going to be stone, and thankfully we still have this. So I'm going to do an object, duplicate object. I'm going to hit X to keep it on X and just pull it over some, let go, and now I'm going to push it down. It's going to be in this corner. And what we need for stone is, well, we already have the color, thankfully. So we can take this dirt, and I'm going to say new, and I'm just going to grab our stone, and goodbye, dirt. And, ooh, our stone's a bit lighter than I thought. We might darken this up some. And it will darken up at the top one too, so that's great. All right, now for our stone, let's go into edit mode. I'm gonna work on this for now. And I'm gonna do a select all. And depending on your speed of your computer, this could give you trouble. Actually, I'm just gonna do the top, just in case. I'm gonna do the top here, and I'm gonna do face, poke. Boom. And it divides all of them up. If that gives you problems, I was just creating more lines, okay? And doing that now, I'm going to go ahead back into edit mode. I'm going to do a select random, and let's say 20%. Okay, I have 20% of faces, and I'm going to do a size change, but just on X or Z. So I'm going to pull up on blue. 1.2. And for X, actually, let's also do a 0.98. And Y, 1.1. And it's just creating this kind of mess. So I'm going to click off now. And now I'm going to do a vertice select. I'm going to say select random. And I'm going to pull all of these up. So 0.1, 0.02, 0.03. Okay, and we're just kind of randomizing the shape. And I'm going to click off. And let's take a look now. And we start to see a really kind of harsher stone structure. So also then, where you can turn down this. Okay, that we're using to smooth it out. Can also go down a bit. And this is again going to be to your liking. What do you want your rocks to look like? Let's try 1. All right, and I'm liking 1. Right there is what I'm liking. So that's a really nice rocky texture for me to use in my game. Perfect. Now that we have that, I have a stone texture. I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and make our... Actually, let's make our pathway. So let me take a look at camera mode. Oop, I zoomed in. Let me zoom back out here. There we are. And I'm going to do add mesh plane. And I'm going to drag this here and put it over here. Let's get these coordinates up for you. First, though, I want the X scale to be maybe this. Oh, maybe this. And so I want to fill this space is basically what's going on. So whatever the size that is what I'm going for. Looks like I can make it a bit bigger. And that will be good. We want a little bit of room. Now, with that done, let's go into, I'm going to go off camera view and zoom in. I'm going to go into edit mode, and we needed some loop cuts here. So I'm going to click loop cut, and first click up here, And for the side, we need 12. And by 12, I definitely mean 24. Because 24 on this side, and then I'm going to grab my loop cut again and go to this side and click. And this side, we need 12. And then we get these nice boxes. Let me click off of that. Let's go ahead now and color our object. So I'm going to click somewhere, and it's just going to be the grass color. So go to materials, click down, and grass. And now let's go into face mode, and I'm going to just do select all. And just so you can see, I'm at the angle. Let's now do extrude. And we're going to want it at a 1. For the extrusion, we need a 1. And then, so it's level with all the other items that we have made. Z, you want to be negative 0.5. Oh, and apparently this is at a 5, and we'll call this negative 2.83. If you want to be exact. It shouldn't be that critical, though. Now, with that all set, we need to make a path. And we're, like games do, we want to make a full circle here. Oops, I can see our face got a little bit off here. So I'm going to click on this too and do unwrap. And that looks better. So for our path, we want 1 space in the middle. Our path is going to be on the edges, our path should be 3 wide. I'm going to hold shift 3 wide. I'm going to hold shift 3 wide and shift 3. And that is perfect. Let's go ahead and color our path. So let's go to materials. Oh, we actually also, I'm going to hold shift. We need an edge right here. Did we get the whole edge? Great. I'm going to go to materials and new. I'm just going to call this new material sand. And then let's hit assign right away, just in case I get clicked off, sand. And what this will be too is we're going to use the wave texture again. Similar idea, wave. So same deal, 70, you're a pro at this by now. 25, detail, 5, detail scale, 10. And then we want a sandy color. So let's try 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for a hex. And then I'm going to lighten that up a bit. Yeah, more along these lines. So what's my hex now? 9466230. And then subsurface 0.95. And I'm liking that. Let's go ahead now and do an extrude. And I'm pushing down. And for this, a negative 0.2 is excellent. Okay. Let's now do a select all. And for this select all, we're going to do edge and subdivide. Now with it subdivided, we want to add a displace modifier like we did with our grass. So for this, we're going to just do the displace, and we don't need new, we want the ground one. And if you want to see it, if we jump into object mode, looks kind of crazy so far. I'm going to go down to 0.5 there. And then we also, though, need that subdivision surface modifier. And I'm going to go up to 3 and 3. And once again, this is going to be your personal preference as to what you want your grass, your path to look like for the player to walk down. Okay. So we're now going to hollow out the middle of this, though, because we need a grass inner hole. So we're going to have 2 on all sides right here. And then just like earlier, we're just going to punch it down. We need to go down -1, enter. I'm going to click off. Let me take a look now. I'm going to click Z, and Z again. And I'm going to I'm still selecting what I pushed down. So I'm going to delete faces, and then I'm going to delete all of this. Just don't need it. Okay, let's take a look from the top. All right, and we still have a little bit here. And there we go. Let me go back into object mode. And I'm liking already how it looks here on the edges. You could divide it again if you are not. Awesome. So we have our full path here for people to use as well, and an edge that goes off the side. An opening for grass. Let's get into our liquids. And this is going to be water, and then this is going to be lava. So let me start here. I haven't been the best at naming these, have I? This will be water, okay? So for water, let me go off camera mode. For water, what we're going to be doing here, it's mostly material. We are going to use a new, we'll call it water. All right, let me get rid of this on here. For the water, we need not a principal, but a mix shader. The shaders we need for this are going to be a transparent shader and then an emission shader. Give it a bit of glow. All right. For the transparent shader, both of them are just going to be colored. What other color you want your water? I have no idea what color I want mine. I'm using AED0FF apparently, and I'll probably change that in a second. And I'm just going to color them both the same. All right. Now, the phase, I'm going to change to the factor. I'm going to change to 0.2, but we should really, before doing that, change down here to alpha blend and then alpha clipped. And let's take a look. And notice already it is slightly transparent, right? We can see through this right here. And now it's going to depend 0.1. I'm going to drag up. See how we can see all of this? How transparent you would like your water to be. So I am liking this. I might add some chaos to it by decreasing this and throwing in a 1. That gives our water a bit more going on. Maybe 1 was strong. But that is up to you as well. Okay, so with our water ready to rock, for our lava, what we're going to do now is we're going to have it also be mostly shading based. I'm going to go plus and new lava. And the lava is going to have a mix as well. Nope. We can use principled. Oh, perfect. That's what they start us with. Of course. Losing my mind here. Noise is what we want. Now, we do need a subsurface color, and I was going to pick a red, because, lava. Like lava. All right, a red. Now, let's take a look at our noise texture. 3D definitely scale. Let's do 0.9. Oh, let me go ahead. It could be helpful to see it. Goodbye. Subsurface. 0.9. Oh, scale. No. 2. Distortion, maybe a 5. Detail, probably a 0.2. Go up on this, and we can now start seeing, right, the kind of swirl multicolor of the lava. And it depends how dark of a red or orange or yellow that you are looking for. And so I'm really liking the colors in this. So mine's 2 for scale, 1 for detail, 5 for distortion, 0.975, and then my red ended up being AC0702. Specular is 0.5, which is fine. Let's double check with lights. Yeah, 0.5, which is fine. Roughness is 0.4. That looks great. And lava. I might turn down just a bit. So now we have lava, and let's look from overhead. Our assets look awesome. So the one last thing is some plants, right? They need something to be walking around with. And this is kind of fun, I think. What we're going to do for our plants, I'm going to zoom in. Let's go ahead and do an add mesh cone. Yeah. I'm going to move that guy over. And I'm going to turn our friend the cone. There we go. -90 is great. And then with -90, let me go ahead for the degrees. I'm going to push this down. I'm then going to do actually, let's apply a color to it. Plus new. I'm going to call it green, which we already have a green, so that doesn't make much sense, but whatever. Let's have us be something. I want it different than what we already have. Sure, that green. 2F7A2E. So this is going to be the top of our tree. And then I'm going to move this guy over. And we're going to need it to be smaller than this. So let's do a 0.7, 0.7, 0.7 for scale. I'm now going to do an object, duplicate link objects. I'm going to hit Y to keep it in the Y path the same. And I'm going to click down. The location of this new one is -6.63, 2.1, right? And let's start changing it up. So we might just go back to 1 for this one. And I'm going to actually make Z more than this. 1.2 on that. And then let's make Z 0.9 on this guy. And we have a... Nope. Awesome little tree. All right, let's add a stem fast object, mesh, cylinder, move it over, rotate it 90, scale it way down. It's at a 1, right? So this is going to be like 0.1, 0.1, and 1.2. And that's still way too large, so 0.05, 0.05, because it's going to be the stem. Drag it down here. Let's make sure it's in the center of this thing. Call that good. Let me give it a brown color. 332211. A bit lighter. And let me zoom out. All right, with one tree ready to go, we want to grab this stem here. I'm going to do object duplicate. I'm going to click X to pull it over here. And then we need a few, well, let's resize it right away. Let's do Z to be a 2. And then this is going to be a 0.1 and a 0.1. Now I'm going to pull it up and let me do add mesh, UV sphere, pull this guy over and push it down. Let's give it a bit of a green color. Different than the other tree though. That looks great. And then I'm gonna mess with the shape of this guy. Let's do a displaced cloud on it. And use the ground texture. Perfect. And I was thinking we could scale this up. We'll make it bigger, but I also want to specifically lengthen. And let's take a look from the top. And I'm going to scale. Okay, let's just scale this down. I'm going to hold shift and just start clicking on my items. Scale. 0.85, 0.85, 0.85. And that is perfect. Let's just move these into their spot. This light is killing me. Got to get these moved over. And that should work. Let's take a look from the camera. I can re-enable that light. Great. Everything is within. Oop, that guy's pretty close though. I might scoot him over a hair. It's the modifier that made it so close. So for X, let's do 4.9 maybe. And there we go. That's plenty of room. And so all of our items are within the needed area, which means it is time to export. I am liking the lighting as is, so I'm not going to mess with it. But of course, you can always change up your lighting if you would like. I'm going to start though with the camera, film, transparent. Actually, maybe I'm not. Oh no, I like the lighting a lot. Transparent here. Let me take a look at what's going on with our sand. Yeah, let's lower that to 0.2. And now let's talk exporting and rendering. There are two ways to export this: as a 2D image, as a render, and I'm about to go through rendering it, or a 3D file for animation or game building. So if you're wondering about Unity, for instance, I have marked next to each file type that is supported by Unity. I would really recommend the FBX one. However, I'm also going to go through rendering an image, one, just for fun, two, it's good knowledge to have, and three, it's really handy for sprite maps in game design or 2D animation as well. So let's get rendering. So film transparent background is what you're going to want. Oh, I didn't actually mark transparent. I was thinking it looked weird. Make sure you mark transparent. All you have to do now is go to render image. And boom, here we go. And we have a complete tile set that you own and can use and import into Unity. If you're interested in how to do that, make sure to check out my other videos. If you made something cool, tell me about it below. Also, if you have a tile set, if you're watching this, if you're kind of still watching this, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. It gives me warm fuzzies and makes the world better and all of that stuff.